Recently I went back at the Didgeridoo Mouthpiece making. This is a mouthpiece that I just made a little bit ago, and figured I'd show some of the things that were important about it. Last time I made these, I didn't have one of these hot pots, an electric fondue pot, or basically something from a yard sale or thrift store, something like that would be just fine. What you want to do is you want to do a double boiler. So you're heating up the water in the hot pot, not the wax. If you heat up the wax, it becomes pretty flammable and nasty and awful. So you're heating up the water, and then you have a little container that floats in the water, or this one sits just on the rim of the hot pot, and then you put the wax in it. And so here's a little hunk of wax. And what happened was a friend of mine was interested in making her own candles, and I've been giving her candle stubs for years, and she moved on from that project, and so I inherited her candle making rig. And so basically what you want to do is you want to have a length of PVC. You could do a full length, or you could do a partial length like this. This is a 1 foot length of PVC, and the way I figure it is, if you have a coupler like this, you can then put the rest of the didgeridoo on it over here. You can also just take a smaller piece like this and put it on, and hold it with your hands just to hear it. But the coupler works pretty good, so that will allow you to have different note lengths for the different didgeridoos. So you could have like 20 of these for a whole group of people, and just a handful of the longer pieces, and that would make it easier to store, and then people can write their names on them. They can decorate them, you can do some neat things with it. And so the process for doing this is you take the wax end and you dunk it in, but you don't leave it in very long, and you let it cool, and then you dunk it in again. If you leave it in too long, what happens is it will melt this whole thing off. And then what I've been doing is putting it in the ice water over here to kind of cool it off even better. And then you get a little mouthpiece, and I've been going at the mouthpiece with my index finger and thumb to kind of make this a little narrower like this. And you don't want this hole to be so huge as this pipe here, because it won't be able to seal on your mouth. And so you take that, you dunk that in. You can see when it changes color that it becomes less shiny, and when you are kind of running out of wax, then you dunk a little bit more wax in there. You just drop it in and it'll melt. You can also do it like this, and the shape that this has taken on is based on the depth of the wax that I had in the thing. And if there's a little bit of water in it, when you if there's a bubble, or there can be water on this, and then you can kind of squirt out water, which is kind of funny. And so I'll do that. And then what you'll have is a mouthpiece about like that. If you use a narrower pipe like this, you'd need to use less wax to bring the opening down to size. And you can also, instead of a coupler, or maybe in addition to a coupler, you can use a 45-degree fitting, This one's not the right size for this pipe. But you can also use a T-fitting. If you use the 45-degree fitting, then that'll give you an angled piece. You can also use a reducer on the other end to give yourself a bell shape that will make it sound better. If you were to use something like this, then you could put a microphone in here, and then being able to put a microphone into it means you can make a recording and do some cool things with that. So I haven't tried it, but I believe that it is possible. This wax here, I would tend to stay away from scented candles if you can, but if you like the flavor of scented candles, then that might be just fine. This here is beeswax, which I think has a very nice taste when you have it on the mouthpiece. And so basically, then what you'll want to do at some point is get practicing with it. I am not going to tell you that I'm an expert in playing didgeridoo, but I've done a little bit of practicing. And then you can also add an extension to it to make it sound a little bit better too. There's a circular breathing technique that you can use that is will allow you to play it for longer periods of time with one breath. But I haven't mastered that piece yet. And so there's my revisiting of the didgeridoos, the mouthpiece making. I think this coupler is definitely the way to go with a large group. Then you don't have a whole bunch of long stick-like things around. You just have a whole bunch of these, and these would